Okay, I've had a request come in from Jeremy, who's one of my crowdfunding supporters over at patreon.com/Bill Hilton. And Jeremy wants me to demonstrate a slow blues comp. Okay, really useful skill, can really develop your hand independence and your improvisation. But let's just break down what we mean by that. Hopefully you're familiar with the idea of piano blues. Today we'll mostly be working in the key of C and using a very straightforward 12-bar blues structure. Okay, we'll come on to that in a moment. But what is a comp? Well, really, comp is just short for accompaniment. And when you're comping, what you're usually doing is improvising kind of rhythmic chordal patterns on the piano that can be used to back up a singer or an instrumentalist, okay? You don't have to sing, you don't have to have someone playing the sax, you can just comp for the fun of it and to develop your skills, but it's a really useful thing to do. You're not having to worry about lots of melodic improvisation in the right hand, you can just focus on chords, on harmony, and on the rhythms that you're using. Let me just play through a comp to demonstrate the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So let's break down exactly what was going on there. We've got a 12-bar blues pattern that taken as a whole looks like this. We're in the key of C, we're in 4/4 time, and we're just using 3 chords. C, F, and G. Yeah, the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the key of C major. Although I am extending those chords, messing around with them a little bit to create my comp. We'll come on to that in a minute or two. What's happening in the left, though, is what's driving the whole thing, yeah? This left hand is kind of the engine that pushes everything forward. It's the same pattern on each of the chords, yeah? Really quite simple. And on F, there we go. And back to C. And on G, it looks like this. And then down to F. Okay, and back to C. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. We've just got the root note of the chord, the note that the chord is named after at the bottom, then the note a fifth above it, G, when we're playing a C chord, and then we're just alternating that G with the white note immediately above it, a tone, a whole step above it, like this. Okay, and it works the same way in each of the chords. There it is on F again, and there it is on G again. Now, if you're new to this kind of thing, that is the thing to get under your fingers first. Spend quite a long time just working on playing through the 12-bar progression, playing that pattern. Now, in the right hand, I was using a variety of different chord shapes just to kind of add texture. Yeah, so like I said about comping, this isn't about creating lots of melodies. We're not thinking about scales. We're not thinking about licks, that kind of thing. It's just about playing chords, but in kind of an interesting way in the right hand. And I was using a variety of chord shapes. So over the C chord, I was using that. Now, taken as a whole chord, that's really a C6 chord. So we've got the basic C chord and then the note a sixth above the root of the chord to give us a C6. Yeah, it just gives us a slightly kind of richer, slightly jazzier sound, I guess. Okay. Then when I came to the F chord, I was using this shape a lot. Yeah, which you would probably call an F9 chord, because those are the notes we're using, the notes of the chord F9. And that slid really easily back to the C6 I was playing. Note that, and this is a really important thing, I'm being quite conservative in my hand movements, okay? So in the right hand, I've gone from there to there. I've just changed one note. It changes the entire identity of the chord, but it's just one note different. I could jump around more if I wanted to. From the C there, playing C6. But I chose not to. I kept it fairly minimalist. Then when I got to the G chord, yeah, that's actually a G9 taken the whole chord that I'm playing there. Note that the note G isn't actually appearing in the right hand. I'm just playing the F, A, B, and D. So there's a full G9 chord. Okay, but I've got the G in the bass, so I don't need to worry about putting that G in there if I don't want to. And then that slid down to the F9 F9 again, and back to the C6. Okay, so the chords that I'm using are actually really simple. What really creates the overall effect is the rhythm. Yeah, I was improvising mostly on rhythm. And as you start out playing this kind of stuff, don't worry about using lots of fancy chords. Instead, focus on getting the rhythms right, because I wasn't doing anything super complicated, but I was varying and playing around with the rhythms. Something I was doing quite often was using rhythmic anticipation. I was changing the chord in the right slightly ahead of where the chord actually changed in the progression, as kind of referenced by the left, like that, and there. That's a straighter change. That's an anticipated change, as is that. Okay, so you can really kind of have fun playing around with the right hand. So let's say that you're new to this kind of playing. How do you get started? This looks fairly simple, but you're going to find it reasonably difficult if you're just starting out, because your hands are doing very different things. And this is why this kind of exercise is so very good for your hand independence. Okay, it's really worth doing, like I said, even if you're not planning to accompany anybody. The number one thing to do is to get really comfortable with the left hand. Just practice it so it's completely automatic. Yeah. Following the changes or just messing around, changing the chords whenever you like, really, but really get comfortable with that left hand pattern. Once you are comfortable with it, then just try playing single block chords in the right for each kind of bar in the left. You'll probably find that reasonably tricky to get started, yeah? And again, play it over and over and over and over until you're comfortable with it. The thing you're trying to do is really embed this in what neuroscientists will call your procedural memory. You're trying to make it completely automatic. You'll probably find that and I remember vividly learning this when I was a kid. Your right hand gets very sticky. Yeah, you're kind of, I want to change. I want to move the chord now. I want to move it now. And practicing over and over and over, probably for longer than you think you'll need to, okay, is really going to help you here. If it seems frustrating, if it seems difficult, don't worry about it. Your hands are doing very different things. When you're really comfortable doing that, that's when to start adding in those little bits of variation. And if you're just using the same pattern throughout to start with, that's fine. Did you notice how my speech was slowing down there? It looks simple, but it's actually quite demanding. Yeah, I was struggling to talk and do it at the same time. If you're enjoying this, I think you'll really like my book, How to Really Play the Piano, the Stuff Your Teacher Never Taught You. It's jam-packed with tips about chords, improvisation, the kind of music theory you need to know and the skills you need to develop to play the piano like this, whether that's playing blues or jazz or pop or rock or whatever. There's even a whole chapter on improvising 12-bar blues. You need to be able to read a little bit of sheet music to get the most out of the book, but if you can, I think you will really enjoy it. And right now, you can get the ebook of How to Really Play the Piano as part of a bundle deal with two of my other books, An Introduction to Cocktail Piano and 7 Studies in Pop Piano, for just £18.95. Yeah, I think that's a really great deal. Lots of people are taking that up at the moment. If you'd like to buy the print or the digital version of just How to Really Play the Piano, then head over to billspianopages.com/howtoreally to find out more. Or if you'd like to take advantage of that bundle deal that I'm running, then head to billspianopages.com/bundle, or click the little YouTube card that is going to pop up in the right hand corner of the screen right about now. Once you're confident with that, you can start playing around with different chords in the right hand here. Let me just show you one or two interesting ones that you can use to kind of give yourself a little bit of variation and interest here. So we looked at that kind of C6 shape in the right hand. You could also try C9. There's C9, it's rootless in the right hand there because we've got the root in the left. Good bluesy sound. Okay, C7 sharp 9. which is that is also a really cool sound. I love that. We've got the ninth, but it's sharpened, so we've got the lovely clash between the E flat and the E natural. If you play that chord, remember to keep those two notes opposite ends of the chord so they're not fighting with each other too hard. You've got enough crunch to give it interest, but it's not a real, you know, a real kind of car crash. You can alternate those two chords. That chord shape, C9, is also really good for putting some tremolo on. Let's have a look at some different F chords. So we've seen the kind of standard F9. You can just use that in a different inversion there, which is similar to the inversion that we used for the C9 chord a minute or two ago. Or you can get a little bit more wild and wacky and play a kind of version of what I guess would be an F13 chord. That's a good kind of alternation with the C9 chord, yeah? Or you could take that into a similar chord in a different inversion. That's a good one. And then play a C7 chord just there. The thing to do with all these chords is to try them in different voicings and inversions, so to take the notes and swap them around. You can do little bits of kind of playing around with them, create little bits of melody. You don't want to go wild on the melody here, but just do things like this. So what I would do now is literally just copy some of the stuff that I'm doing. Get confident with your left hand first, but then use some of the chord shapes that I was using and see what you can do with them. Further down the line, you're going to want to try this in different keys. You're going to want to, you know, start adding bits of melodic improvisation and things like that. But for now, just start out by working on your rhythmic, your kind of textural sounds, okay, when you're playing this kind of stuff, and that will really improve your skills, especially your hand independent skills, in lots and lots of different ways. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, please do follow my other social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Links are all in the description text right underneath this video. And like I said, please do check out my books and my Patreon crowdfunding page. Lots of good stuff going on over there. All the links are below and in the YouTube cards in the top right hand corner of the screen, and probably on an end screen card here as well, one of those magic end screen cards that pops up at the end of every video. So give that a click right now and find out what else I've got going on. Happy playing, and I'll see you next time.